Welcome into the Elite Picks podcast, where we combine AI-powered prop recommendations and our own insights to help you win big betting on the NFL. I'm Tyler here with John and B-Dot, and we've got a jam-packed show today. So let's dive right into it. We're going to start off with our best bets for player props on Sunday. John, talk to me, my guy. What is your best play for this week?
Well, I like Nico Collins this week going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars because A, who doesn't like somebody going against the Jaguars this year? But B, he's hit this line 5 out of his last 5 times. A lot of the reason why this line is where it is because he's on the injury report this week. I do expect him to play. He's trending in the right direction. He's only been limited. He hasn't missed any practice so far. Just got a little hammy thing going. But again, I mentioned this on our Wednesday show. Jacksonville plays the most man defense in the league. And Nico Collins is an absolute beast against man defense. He might be the best receiver in the league when it comes to playing against man. So Jacksonville as well, 26 in completion percentage given up. Yards per completion given up. And again, I like this line up to 80.5. I think it's already moved, to be honest with you guys. I think last time I checked, it was up to 80.5. So that's how quickly some of these lines can move. We'll experience that later in the show as well, as we kind of figured out. But I have him over 74.5 reception yards. I like him up to 80. Still got a good AP score up to 80 as well. He's got some monster numbers, so look out for him in the parlay that I have coming up as well, where we take some alt lines. But what do you guys think?
I like that. That was gonna be my pick if you didn't pick it. You're going crazy, like you said, especially against them Jaguars.
Yeah, and the Texans have enough weapons as well that it's not like they're going to be able to divert a lot of coverage to him and play a lot of cover 2 with a man over the top or bracket coverage, because you got Stephon Diggs too as well. I know Tank Dell is on the injury report and he might not play as well, but again, Stephon's enough of a weapon to pull important coverage as well. So, but for sure,
yeah, I think it's a great play, especially since you mentioned Tank Dell. Even before the injury, it seemed like he was sort of the odd man out, just in terms of volume between Collins and Diggs. So. EP score is spitting facts on this one. So, I can't blame you for going with Collins, especially against a beat-up Jaguars team that just doesn't look great at all.
Yeah, that's for sure. Beat-out, what you got cooked up for this weekend?
Oh, man, I got my man's Amon. I'm tripping. That's my other one. I got Caleb, my other man, Caleb Williams, man. I thought you was going to click it for me. I got Caleb over 33.5. It was originally at 32.5. So that should tell you guys something that it's trending in the right direction, that he's going to be going over. Had 50 plus passing attempts last week. Been going against a pretty decent Rams team. But I think they'll be playing from behind once again. And he's going to throw the ball a lot, man. They already said that their running back isn't he's not even the running back 1 anymore. So they're trying to figure out who this running back guy is going to be for this upcoming game. And I think they're going to rely a lot on, Caleb Williams. Finally got in the end zone, this past week, but also threw a lot of interceptions, threw a couple interceptions. But man, he threw 50 plus yards. 50 plus attempts, and I see him, surmounting this once again. I got him for at least between 37 and 42 attempts.
Yeah, that's a boatload. I can't believe he only got 1 touchdown throwing 50 attempts.
And the Rams coming off that big win, against the 49ers, man. They're coming in with a lot of confidence and a lot of swagger. And the 49ers is a better team than the Chicago Bears. So I feel as though that the Rams is not going to be handily, but it's going to be they'll win this game, and Caleb is going to have to rely a lot on his arm.
Yeah. Well, our resident Rams expert, what do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, come on, man. You should have been asking you this.
From a player prop standpoint, I think this is a great play. I mean, you've seen the quarterbacks that have played the Rams so far this season. Outside of Goff, everybody else is really 8. And in terms of Caleb Williams, he's had some flashes of showing that he's like a number 1 pick. But this could be a game where I think he does break out, just based off of how banged up Rams secondary is. And I think it's going to be a bit of a closer game, but the Rams do a pretty good job of stopping the run, at least as of the last couple games. So I think this could be an opportunity for Caleb Williams to expose some of those corners that are still young. And even last week we saw the Odunze connection between Williams and him start to heat up. So, yeah, man, I think that he's going to be given opportunities to throw the ball more often than not. I mean, Purdy had nobody last week and looked like Joe Montana. So this would be a big confidence boost, in my opinion, for the Bears, not only for Caleb Williams, for his coach to let him know, like, hey, we're going to let you chuck the rock today and do your thing, because this is a defense that has been proven to have, be picked apart. So might not agree with you on where the flow of the game is, but I definitely think they're gonna put the ball in Williams' hand and make him chuck the rock.
Yeah, I also need to see the over under on the color of his nail polish. Is it going to be a bright color this week or a dark color? I think that factors in also. So
yeah, something to watch out for sure. Also, I don't think Chicago can run the ball at this point. I think they're 31st in rushing offense. So that's all they got. That's all they got is Caleb Williams' nail color. That's what Chicago fans are depending on these days, unfortunately. Yeah.
Because the running back they had now that was starting, he was only averaging, I think, 1.8 yards per carry. And they were like, yeah, bro, you're out of here.
Yeah, I was going to say, B-Dot, I think you'd average 1.8 yards a carry on any team in the NFL.
Man, so come on now. I'm going to the outside, but I'm Wes Welkering it. Once I see contact coming, I'm sliding. I'm down on the ground.
That's funny.
What you got for us, Tyler?
Yeah, so I'm going to continue with my trends here of sort of going with these wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 player props. And I'm going to go with Darnell Mooney over 38.5 receiving yards against the Saints. People may remember Mooney as sort of a highlight sort of guy on the Bears for a brief time with Justin Fields, but he's now taken his talents to Atlanta. And so far during the season, he's definitely solidified himself as the wide receiver 2 in this Falcons offense. He's played over 90% of the snaps on the offensive side of the ball, so it's clear that they like him in this offense. Now, if you want to look at recent statistics over the last 2 games, he's put up over 60 yards, and he's had at least 15 targets. So it's clear that Kirky is definitely eyeing him up in this offense, especially when you have guys like Drake London and Kyle Pitts, who are big targets, who certainly command a lot of attention. So to be honest, I think this number is just too low. I mean, Mooney shows that he's been able to be a viable option in this offense. And at 38.5, especially being the deep threat for this team, I could totally see him getting this in just 2 or 3 catches. So I think this is going to be a close game against the Saints, and they're going to have to throw the ball. I think it's going to be a relatively high-scoring game compared to both teams' previous weeks. So give me Darnell Mooney. Give me the Moon Man over 38.5 receiving yards, boys.
I'm inclined to believe you. You're talking about this guy like he's LeBron James taking his talents somewhere. But no, I like the pick
you put on him.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be booming in that dome. It's gonna be not a dome no more, but the Mercedes Benz or whatever they call it. It's gonna be booming down there in Atlanta. It's a rivalry game, and like you said, I wasn't familiar that he was their long range target. So it makes sense that this is a very low number and very hittable number.
Yeah, definitely. And going through the wide receivers in particular on the Elite Picks app, this was one that stuck out to me, as I mentioned, looking for those wide receiver 2s, wide receiver 3s, where I feel like they're being a bit undervalued. So definitely shout out to the app here for having this one really jump off the page. And this was a guy I was eyeing up and just seeing him perform well against the Chiefs on that Sunday night game, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a guy I've been eyeing up since last week, and it's too good of a number to pass up.
Yeah. Hey, we got to give you credit where it's due too, because I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson went off last night, and you completely called that. He had hit his line that was like at 30 some odd in the first half. He halfway through the second quarter, he had already had his line, and that was your best bet for Thursday Night Football. So shout out, Tyler. That was a good pick, and I'm definitely going to be taking this one as well, since you're picking it.
Yeah, the great thing about betting, and especially player props, is just try to find your niche. So far, the wide receiver over or receiving yards overs on some of these wide receiver 2s and 3s have been working. So definitely recommend that. Go with what is working. If it ain't broke, certainly do not fix it. So felt it was a good one to go with this week.
For sure.
So yeah, we're going to keep this moving. Now that we've given out our best bets, we're going to move on to a new segment where we're going to spice things up a little bit, folks, and actually give some parlays. We know this is a huge part of this industry that we all love to throw in some lottery tickets, some big time parlays. So we're going to look at some week 4 parlays to see what our team here has. So John, I know you've been in the lab, man. I know you've been cooking. What parlays do you have, or what parlay do you like in particular for this week?
Well, I'm going to call mine the Let's Get Stupid parlay. And again, for those of you who do like, this isn't McBets over here. We're not throwing in, $1 to win $1 million, but this is plus 1,600 for some pretty good odds for a 4-leg parlay with 3 legs in negative odds. So we're going to start off with Nico Collins over 100 yards. He was already my pick of the week over his line of 77 or 79, somewhere in that. Actually, no, it was 73. But Nico Collins has gone over 100 yards in 3 out of his last 4. So he has that explosiveness, and it's a great matchup against Jacksonville. So I love that. Caleb Williams over 32.5 passing attempts. Beat out already explained to you guys why that was a great pick. I had that in my parlay before I even saw his pick of the week, but you can see that we both agree on that for sure. Next one, Deshaun Watson under 201.5 passing yards. I've been betting this every single week of the year so far, and it's hit every single dang time, 3 out of 3. Take it. You can even take his over on pass attempts. You can't do it on FanDuel. You can't parlay his attempts with his yards, but you can on DraftKings, I believe. But it doesn't give you the boosted odds that it should. So anyway, I took his under for this parlay. And then my last leg is Jahmyr Gibbs over 11.5 rushing attempts. This did not have the highest EP score, but he's hit this 4 out of his last 5. And we already talked about how the Seattle defense is the best passing defense in the NFL. Actually, I don't know if we did mention that yet, but Seattle has the number 1 ranked pass defense in the NFL. So look for Gibbs and the Lions to get going on the ground against them. So that's my 4-leg parlay. I want to keep getting stupid with this stuff, but I actually want to, give you guys stuff that I believe can hit. And I actually really believe in this. So I put $10 on this myself and then bet these all as singles because they're not, super long odds. And so, yeah, what do you guys think? You like it?
I like it. I like it. I like it. I'm trailing.
I like it. Cool.
Yeah.
Tyler, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you and B-Dot are synced up on the Caleb Williams over pass attempts. We've already talked a little about Nico Collins and his role really as number 1 guy there. And mentioned, I believe, last episode when we were talking about the Giants and when they faced the Browns seemed like just as much of a mess as really some of these other teams that have struggled out the gate. So especially with the Raiders team that's looking to bounce back after their coach said that some business decisions were made. And now he's going to be the one starting to make some business decisions. So I think you're going to see Crosby and that defense come out and really get after Watson. And I'm with you on Gibbs, and you'll hear a little bit of my reasons why when we talk about some of the Monday night games possibly. But yeah, I think this is a great first starter for you to go in the lab and to cook something up for us here.
Yeah, let's kick it off with a hit. I can go longer odds after this, but I want to start 1-0. I want to get this train rolling. Nobody needs an 0 for record to start this parlay segment. So,
hello.
But B-Dot, what you got cooked up?
I'll cook something up on Prize Picks. My parlay of the week. I got my boy Justin Jefferson. Come on now. Come on, give me him and Sam Darnold. Their connection is going crazy. So I'm giving him 97 yards. Caleb Williams over 32.5. Come on now, I already explained that. That's easy. Derrick Henry going less. He going against that Buffalo Bills defense. Man, it's not going to be that much running. Not going to be that much running room in general. Lamar gonna have to throw that thing. Zay Flowers. Come on now, once again going against that Buffalo Bills defense. 48.5. I can see Zay getting about 42 yards. It's gonna be very tough. Not really a long ball threat. He can try to get something, in the short game, but the Buffalo Bills defense, as John knows, is a hell of a defense. And Alvin Kamara, come on now, it's a rivalry game. He in that Mercedes-Benz Stadium is gonna be going crazy. He's gonna prove him. Look, man, I got 89. I got 89 yards in me, dog. So that's my parlay of the week. I put down $5 on it. It's gonna flip it to 150. And you can't go wrong with that. Cannot go wrong with that. How y'all feeling?
I love it.
How y'all feeling?
I love it. Specifically, Zay Flowers under the Buffalo Bills. Like, as the Buffalo Bills fan here, they're really good at finding ways to shut down number 1 wide receivers. Tyreek Hill has historically low numbers against the Bills, so that's definitely a good bet. And if they know that the biggest thing that they have to stop is Derrick Henry, they're going to be doing well with that too. So, but yeah, I love it. Justin Jefferson's over also, I think, was a 99.99 EP score. So, hell yeah, love that. Love that. Mm-hmm. Tyler, what you think?
Yeah, and I like the Derrick Henry play as well. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think it's going to be more of a bit of an air attack. I know you mentioned Flowers and his under, but I think they're going to do a good job of bottling up Henry. and making Lamar Jackson basically have to beat them. I know they don't want King Henry to come in and rush for 150 yards or 200 yards and be like, we would rather have Lamar Jackson beat us at this point than just have somebody run all over us. So, and yeah, Justin Jefferson, I love his over in receptions as well as his yardage. I think people are still sleeping on Sam Darnold, and it's clear he's been doing a good job up to this point and has been a viable quarterback. And Justin Jefferson, even in the past, with guys like Nick Mullins, even some others I haven't mentioned, that he's pretty quarterback proof as long as he can have time to sort of develop chemistry. So love it, man.
Josh Dobbs, there's a name for you. Josh Dobbs, I think, was on that list.
Former Arizona Cardinal.
Yep.
So he should be able to hit this over in a competitive game. I'm not too sure if Jordan Love's going to play, but regardless, I still think it's going to be super competitive. And Justin Jefferson's going to have to do his thing.
Mm-hmm. What you got worked up for us, Ty?
Yeah, so I decided to go a little bit of a different route here and go with an anytime touchdown parlay. So I decided to go with 5 guys. I decided to go with Aaron Jones, which is a bit of a revenge narrative going against the Packers at plus 135. So can be rushing or receiving. I got Tutu Atwell for the Rams at plus 310. This is definitely the longest odds of my parlay here. I'm definitely going for shooting for the moon on this one. So definitely going all out. Tutu Atwell was a guy who had about 80 yards receiving last week. Was drafted in the first 3 rounds a few years back, but looks to be sort of the deep threat, sort of the guy to help Stafford while Kupp and Nakua are out. So I think you might see him get in the end zone on Sunday. Then we're going to move on to James Conner against the Commanders, who just haven't been great defensively. You've seen guys like Zach Moss have a good week last week, so I think James Conner is going to bounce back off of a rough week rushing-wise, and he's going to be able to get in the end zone. Travis Kelce, don't have much to say outside of he's due. He is extremely due for a good game. He has not started out very well. And if you look at his stats against the Chargers, for the last 6 games, he's scored. So I'm hoping a lot of the noise around Travis Kelce will finally fade away, and Andy Reid is going to dial up some plays for him in the goal line. And last but certainly not least, I got to go with Superman Josh Allen to score a rushing touchdown. John can definitely tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think he might only have 1 rushing touchdown this year, or at least within the games this year. He hasn't really been using his legs all that much to get in the end zone. But I think this is going to be a close game where they're going to have to pull out all the stops, and Allen's going to use his legs to get in the end zone if he needs to. And I would mirror this with Lamar Jackson as well. But I decided not to put him in since these odds were really long. But with that said, with this 5-leg TD parlay, you're looking at plus, since it is DraftKings, they offer a 25% profit boost this week for parlays. So you got to take the gifts that they give you when you can. So certainly got to take it here. If you were to bet $10 on this parlay, you're looking at a $1,200 payout. So we're looking at odds around 12,145. So as I said,
that's a healthy number.
Definitely shooting for the moon for this one. But touchdown parlays are a favorite of mine, especially anytime touchdowns. So thought it was necessary to pick some guys who may be sleepers, like a Tutu Atwell, but also get some guys in there that people may think that are going to get in the end zone, like a James Conner or even a Josh Allen.
Yeah. You definitely have, like, when you watch a team, you get a sixth sense about who's going to score on a week-to-week basis when you're watching them every week. So that's why I definitely trust your Tutu Atwell pick. And from the Bills fan here, that Josh Allen pick makes total sense. He hasn't been in the end zone because he injured his hand week 1 rushing. You know, that crazy, where he does he runs into the Cardinals player. That's where he injured his hand for that rushing touchdown. So his hand's getting better. The sprain has been getting better, but he hasn't been running as much because of that, because he can only carry the ball in his right hand and stuff like that. So it's actually helped him a little bit, be a little bit more conservative like he should, since he's not rushing. But again, they're going to need it in this game. They've been up by a ton in all these other games so far, so he hasn't really needed to push the envelope, but he absolutely will. And, goal line, they're just going to tush push him. So, but yeah, it's definitely a good pick. I like it.
Yep. Agreed. Ditto. Analytical tie.
So,
We're going to go against analytical tie.
Yeah, so let's definitely pay off some bills with some of these parlays, gentlemen. Definitely going to keep track on these and see if one of these three can come out with a huge W. So this was a lot of fun. Definitely excited to continue to do things like this more for the podcast as we continue through the season. So we're going to keep the train moving here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to now focus on our best bets for player props between the two Monday night games that we have going on. This is the second week in a row we have of doubleheaders. The early game is going to be the Titans at the Dolphins, and the other matchup is going to be the Seahawks at the Lions. So, fellas, talk to me. Who wants to kick us off with their best bet between these two Monday night games?
I'll do it because I don't feel like flipping around slides out of order. But no, we already talked about Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit. And Tyler, I know you probably got some more stuff about him later, but this over 11 and a half rushing attempts, I already threw my parlay because it's a great bet. I already mentioned that he has 4 out of the last 5. He had 16 last game as well. But he's also had 11 plus attempts in 9 out of his last 10. So he's always up around this number. He's very consistent. And again, Seattle with the number 1 ranked passing defense, that means that they're going to have to get after it on the ground. So I like Jahmyr Gibbs over 11 and a half rushing yards. We don't have to do too much on this because we already kind of talked a little bit about it, but yeah, good EP score. And again, that line, as the other lines have already, is probably moved at this point. So double check it, but it's a great number for sure. So, but B-Dot, what you got cooked up?
Man, I made a mistake earlier and said this guy's name, but here we full circle, man. Here at Elite Picks Podcast, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's hit this line 3 out of the last 5 games, or 3 out of the last 5 games in general. 77 EP score. I rock with it. I know he's going against that Seattle number 1 pass defense, but he's a number 1 wide receiver. He's one of the best wide receivers in the game. He's going to get it done. I think he hits the line with just receiving yards in general. Just rushing just added just an extra boost to it. So that's how I'm feeling. They're at Detroit. They play really well at home. Seattle, man, I don't know how good they are, but apparently they are pretty decent. And I just think, it's still early in the season. I don't know. I don't want to hop on the Seahawks train too early. So I feel as though it's not going to be that great of a passing defense against this Detroit Lions at home in the rain. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to do his thing. So this is a lock. Y'all lock this in, man. Lock this in. He's going to have 87 yards, bro. 87 receiving yards easily.
I like it. And the other thing is you got to have to look at who Seattle's faced to have that number 1 passing defense moniker. I mean, what if they face the passing attacks of the Tua-less Miami Dolphins? They needed overtime to beat the Patriots, and then I think it was the Browns week 1 maybe, and Deshaun Watson throwing the ball. So
I ain't want to hop on the train. I think this is going to be their biggest challenge of the year, and it's going. Yeah.
And they're in Detroit. They're in Detroit. That's the cherry on top for sure. But we'll definitely talk about that game in our game picks here coming up because this is the Monday night matchup. But Tyler, what you got cooked up?
Yeah, so I decided to stick with not only the same game, I decided to stick with the same team, and as well as maybe one of the same players. But I decided to go with Jahmyr Gibbs over 77 and a half rushing and receiving yards. This is one of my favorite player props. Love the rushing and the receiving yards, just because you get a little option of both and helps give you a little more entertainment value outside of maybe just a rushing prop. But to simply put, he's gone over 100 yards between rushing and receiving yards over the last 2 games. So he's gone well over this in their last 2 contests. And if you actually look at Gibbs and Montgomery, and even last year, gradually over time, you're going to start to see Gibbs start to get more of the touches. And I think we're already starting to see that as we get into week 4. So that combined with I think them having a similar offensive game script as the last 2 matches, because I do think this will be somewhat competitive. I think that they're going to make Gibbs a big option in terms of the run as well as the pass game. They have their starting center is going to be out as well as Laporta. I think Laporta is actually going to be playing, but he may not be 100%. So from a receiving yard standpoint, I just think that gives more opportunities for Gibbs to get some catches out of the backfield. Some fans might be like, well, what about that hook and ladder last week? He may not get a hook and ladder like last week, but still, I think this is going to be a somewhat competitive game, and they're going to make sure that they're going to give a heavy dosage of Gibbs in this game. So I know that the EP model might not be screaming that it's the best, but I just think this number is just way too low under the circumstances.
Yeah, that's my bad because I didn't get the screenshot fast enough because the line moved and the EP score moved a little bit as well. So when you saw it, it was like, what was it, 90 something? So
correct. Yeah, this was up in the 90s, which made it seem like, one of the better plays of the night.
Right. Which, again, if you check the app tomorrow, it might be back up to that depending on something. With these lines moving around on Friday afternoon, you never know what you're going to get. But I would expect that to go back up. Because, again, like you said, he's over 100 the last 2 games. So he's trending in the right direction. Trending which way is important. And I love him in this matchup for sure. And you can tell from our best Monday Night Football bets that we kind of stayed away from the Miami-Tennessee game, with a 10-foot pole. So if you don't have to, I guess that's the good part of a Monday Night Football doubleheader is we'd have to pick props from that game if it was just that game. So that's the good side.
And that's a perfect segue, John, into our next segment, which is actually going to be going over our game picks for both Monday night matchups. But we're going to start off with the first game, which is the Titans at the Dolphins. So I got to hear what side are you taking, John? I know you're just as thrilled as we are for this matchup, but please let me know what side you might be leaning on between Titans and Dolphins.
Well, this is your classic easily stoppable force meets a movable object type of matchup. I don't know. Again, there's the revenge angle from last year. So I don't know if you remember late in the season last year, Miami Dolphins are leading the AFC East by 2 games, and then they're leading in the fourth quarter versus Tennessee, and all of a sudden Tennessee comes back and wins in Miami inexplicably, and that means that 2 weeks later the Bills were able to play for the division in week 17 and then ultimately won the division last year because of winning that game. So if Miami won this game last year, they would have won the AFC East without having to beat the Bills. So that's an interesting angle to that. Maybe they want some revenge here. Big question at quarterback. Is it going to be Skylar Thompson? Is it going to be Tyler Huntley? Is it going to be Tim Boyle? Is Mike McDaniel going to get out there and hand the ball off? I don't know what to expect there. If it's Skylar Thompson, I've seen him play well before. He played well against the Bills in the playoffs 2 years ago. I don't know where that version of Skylar Thompson went. I don't know how he got inexplicably worse over the past 2 years. But again, Tyler Huntley, that'd be some good variance. We've seen him play well. Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley. So there's that. But anyway, Will Levis keeps giving the ball away like Costco free samples. So I'm gonna go with Miami -1 here after all that long spiel. But anyway, maybe he should try Miracle Whip in his coffee instead or something. I don't know, change something up. But B-Dot, what you got?
Man, Will, my dog, man. I'm going Tennessee, man. Think it's gonna be I don't want to say a breakout game because any game, however well he does, if they win and he does well, it's going to be considered a breakout game in general from the previous games. I just hope we don't get any Will Levis memes.
That'd be a win. That'd be a win. That'd be a win in and of itself.
It will be. It will. Right, man. And I just think Tennessee is the much better team. Not really saying much in general. Like I'm not gonna lie. I closed my eyes, flipped the coin, and it landed on Will Levis. So I'm going with the Tennessee. I'm going with Tennessee. I'm going with Tennessee +1.
When in doubt, take the points or the point in this case.
There you go, man. Well, how you feeling, Ty? Come on now. Come on, Ty. Give me some good.
Yes, this one's definitely a doozy between these two teams under the circumstances, and in terms of Dolphins and their injury woes and just everything about the Titans quarterback play, and it just hasn't been great. But I'm going to go with the Titans +1, ladies and gentlemen. We are not afraid to go with the points here.
Titans, baby, Titans.
Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniels hasn't revealed who's going to be playing quarterback for the Dolphins yet. I know John has mentioned a few of those names. Snoop Huntley may get the start, but very hard to cap this game from a Dolphins side of things. We really don't know who's going to be distributing the football. My guess would be if Huntley plays, that's going to give the Dolphins the best chance of winning. But regardless of Huntley, since Tua has gotten hurt, this offense has just been non-existent. Tyreek Hill hasn't done much. Jalen Waddle hasn't done much. I think Jonnu Smith, shout out FIU alumni, maybe has had the best from a receiving standpoint. So I just don't have a lot of confidence in this Dolphins team to really come out and put up the necessary points to win this game. As long as Will Levis doesn't hand the ball to the other team or do things where basically you're shooting your offense in the foot, I think the Titans should be able to come out on top here. So I'm taking the Titans +1, definitely the biggest dartboard of the season, or dartboard throw, and in terms of our game picks this year. But I think the Titans are going to squeak one out here.
Yeah. I wonder where the Burger King is at these days. Maybe he can play quarterback for the Dolphins. I remember those old commercials. Those are good.
Man,
those
yeah, they might need to call Dan Marino.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Pepsi and Doritos commercial where they show, I think, Jerry Rice, Emmitt Smith, and Dan Marino coming out of retirement. And they might be calling Dan and saying, we need you and Ace Ventura to get to the stadium because we need
Come on now. What? Yep, shit. Call me. I got the orange on. I think I can give y'all 14 completions.
You're gonna give him more than Skylar Thompson can. That's for sure.
Man.
So yeah, let's move on to the second game of this doubleheader for Monday Night Football, and definitely a much more competitive game. I think it'll be a more entertaining game as well. It's going to be the Seahawks at the Lions. John, talk to me. Who do you like in this one?
I'm going to go with Detroit here. I think that's a safe pick. Seattle's the number one passing D, like we talked about, but again, they've faced some cakewalk offenses along the way, so that stat's probably not going to hold through week 4, I would think. They need overtime to beat New England. I already mentioned that too, but I think the big thing here is home field advantage. And I know you get a couple points for home field advantage. It used to be 2.5. Now it's down to like 1.5 or 2 points that they give you usually. But again, I just like Detroit at home. The way these two teams match up, I think that Detroit's passing and rushing offense is going to do well against a tough so far Seattle defense. But I like them -3.5 here. I think they clear the spread pretty easily. But yeah, what do you think, B-Dot?
Man, shout out Simba and Musafa them, man. I'm going with the Lions, brother. Come on, man. I think they'll win by at least a touchdown. Like I said, I think Seattle passing defense meets their match in this Monday Night Football game. And yeah, man, they're at the crib, man. They're at home. I know you said it went down to 1.5, but at the end of the day, I think the Lions are a better team offensively, and I think Jared Goff is going to have a hell of a game. Don't quote me. I said the same thing about Dak last game. It was different, guys. It was Thursday Night Football. It's a different prime time. Monday night, the lights are on. And I think Detroit will perform well. How you feeling, Ty?
Yeah, I got to go with the Lions here, -3.5. And John touched upon it a little bit earlier, but ladies and gentlemen, do not let the Seahawks record fool you guys. They've played the Broncos, the Patriots, and the Dolphins with no Tua. So
it was the Broncos. I said the Browns earlier. My bad. It was the Broncos.
Rookie quarterback.
Yeah, even worse, I would say, arguably. So I just think that the public has given the Seahawks team too much love based off of the competition that they've faced. They have not really faced anybody who is, at least with the Dolphins under their circumstances, looking to be a playoff team. If you actually look at this line when it first came out, it started out at -6 and is now trickled down to 3.5. So I just think the public is just too much in on Seahawks recency bias and how they've played against some of these subpar teams. Don't have much to say on the Lions end outside of they are playing home and they're going to be rocking and debuting their all black uniforms as well as the blue helmets. So you give me a combination of the Lions at home, prime time in these new uniforms. Detroit is going to be rocking. And I think the Seahawks are going to come back down to earth a little bit after riding this high off of these subpar teams. So I got the Lions winning by more than a field goal. I think Goff's gonna put together a good game after some struggles to start off the year. And yeah, man, give me Detroit -3.5.
I like it, man. Do it for the color scheme. I mean, look at this. This matches the Elite's picks color scheme aesthetic. So do it for the brand.
Any way to find an edge, I'll take it. So These Lions uniforms have been pretty bland over the years, so I'm excited to see they're going to spice it up a little bit and give these guys a little extra juice to get out there.
They're not bad. They're not that bad. They're not like Houston Texans bad, but
I guess it's because they've been around for like 100 years, so it just seems like this is a team that's been around for a while, and it just kind of seems a lot of the same. But yeah, any sort of extra juice that we can get for this line, I'll take it. So.
Yeah, that's interesting that you said with the line movement. That makes me feel better about the value that you're getting at -3.5 with how far it is from where it opened. Because, if we were doing this and it was still at the same spot, we'd all be betting Detroit -6.5, probably still, right? But we get only 3.5, so that's good. It's good. I like it.
And it could even get further. I mean, obviously we have until Monday night, so we could see this get to under 2.5 if the public is really feeling like the Seattle Seahawks are going to make this a game. So, but I think 3.5 is more than enough
for sure
for them to cover this game.
For sure.
Well, all right, gentlemen, that was a really fun format we had today. So, just want to thank everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help out the page and help out the channel. So we appreciate it so much. Also, leave a comment and let us know what you'd like to see more of. Maybe if you'd like to see some different segments, or also what you may be betting on, what player props you may be betting on. And please be sure to take advantage of the free trial for the Elite Picks app. The link is in the description below. Good luck, everybody, for this week 4. Let's make some money and have a fantastic weekend.